says the economy cannot reopen if schools remain closed because they act as childcare for many workers. And he says it's just too early to say where we'll be weeks from now.
Is anyone prepared to sit here today and say businesses are not going to open through June? June is
we're willing to say that, bro.
Remillard, ABC News, New York.
Anybody who's been in business can see what's going on.
Hello, it's Jeff from
Sometimes you just cannot.
We know things are uncertain right now, but if you need furnace, hot water, or plumbing help, we're here for you. Understanding the seriousness of the current situation, we're taking great pains to make sure that any visit to your home is safe for you as well as our Reliance team members. So if you find your...
This is French station. They never give me the news in French anymore. Bad enough to giving out the news in French. I think there's secrets in there. Now they don't do it on a schedule anymore.
L'Orchestre symphonique national d'Estonie, dirigé par Paavo Järvi, interprétait 3 danses norvégiennes de Grieg. C'est de cette très folklorique façon qu'on va se dire au revoir aujourd'hui. À chacun s'amuse a été programmé par la vive Julie-Christine Parent, qui était avec moi en studio. C'est Julie Daou qui vous accompagnait sur ce sentier musical. Je vous y redonne rendez-vous tout bientôt. D'ici là, portez-vous bien.
I'm not gonna like this.
And weather turns to 680 News. Toronto.
And now time for the All News Radio Business Report.
As North American markets prepare to kick off another week, oil's in focus following the biggest production cut ever by OPEC and its allies. After days of constant negotiations, the group agreed to a cut of 9.7 million barrels a day that will begin on May 1st and will continue through the end of June. Now, the organization originally wanted a cut of 10 million barrels a day, but apparently Mexico refused to cut by 400,000 barrels and settled on 100,000. Analysts are warning that traders remain concerned that the size of these cuts will not be enough to effectively address the demand loss caused by the coronavirus pandemic. But in electronic trade, we saw oil higher by more than 6%.
Sorts of shit out of plastic for the hospitals.
Western Canadian Select dropped by more than 39% to $4.39 a barrel.
All this disposable cutlery for the homeless people. Everything's disposable now.
We saw Dow futures drop by 1.7% or 400 points.
Own the fucking oil field.
Nasdaq futures fell by at least 1.5%. Now, all 3 U.S. benchmarks did see a weekly gain of at least 10%, and in fact, the S&P had its best week since 1974. Here at home, the TSX did post a weekly gain around 8.4%, and it's coming off a 4-day rally. It was higher by 1.7% on Thursday. That's a gain of 240 points to 14,166. Investors are preparing for the first full week that the Canada Emergency Business Account is going to be available to small businesses and not-for-profit organizations.
Saturday, bro.
After cutting rates to near zero in March, the Bank of Canada is set to release its latest interest rate decision and monetary policy report on Wednesday. The Canadian dollar on Thursday was higher by 19/100%, closing at 71.57 cents U.S. As for gold and electronic trade, it fell by more than 1%, and Boeing has reportedly turned to firms including Evercore to help it examine various funding strategies as it considers both government and private options amid the coronavirus pandemic. On Thursday, the plane maker was higher by 3.3% to $151.84. At the Business Center, I'm Carl Garnash.
Here's the top 10 reasons to get 10 Timbits free. They're fun, awesome, tasty, shareable, delicious, snackable, craveable, dippable, delectable, and free. Spend $10, get 10 Timbits free. Offer and qualifying purchases of $10 before taxes and participating restaurants for a limited time. Not valid for delivery orders and terms apply.
Something's always coming up. Home improvements, kids' education, car repairs, credit card bills. Maybe you even saw a real deal on an investment property. Well, don't wait for the money to fall from the sky. Call Northwood Mortgage and start taking care of business. Use your home to save money. Pay off your mortgage faster. See why Canadians have turned to Northwood Mortgage for over a quarter of a century. Northwood Mortgage. Visit NorthwoodMortgage.com. License 10349.
As an essential service, Roto-Rooter wants you to know that they remain ready to help you with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs. Thank you for understanding as they take preventative measures to ensure everyone's health is a top priority. Contact them at rotorooter.com.
680 News is CFRAM. Toronto.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News. First at 5.
Here are Laura Carney and Mitch Burke.
It's Monday, April 13th. Good morning from Mitch Burke. I'm Alex Bluetooth.
Here's what's making news this hour.
Federal officials expected to focus on long-term care homes and temporary foreign workers today as we begin week 5 of physical distancing.
A new COVID-19 test
You don't want to pick the
has
group.
reportedly been approved by federal health officials that could produce results in under an
I don't
hour.
think the group.
COVID-19 testing is ramping up across Ontario, and the province is now developing a new health data platform to help researchers better detect, plan, and respond to the outbreak.
The NBA reportedly considering a 25-day program to get players back into shape. Of course, the big question would be when Sports 50.
An historic energy deal reached by OPEC over the weekend to cut production has the price for oil barely moving this morning. Dow futures down over 300 points. Business at 26.
680 News Time, 5:01.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Good morning, Helena Volka.
And good morning, Alex. And good morning, Alex and Laura. Nothing like riding over my headphones with the chair there, but I think I'm all set now. And this report is brought to you by 407 ETR. If you're driving around the city, well, definitely the first thing you're going to notice is your wipers are on, and it is raining, so you're going to be careful driving through those ponds and pools and puddles that are beginning to accumulate on the roads. You're going to have to watch your speed. It'll be tempting not to, because there won't be many cars on the road likely this morning for the rush hour, but please watch your speed, because you could lose control hitting one of those ponds or pools that are developing.
Ponds, yeah, the big puddles of water where the sewers are
there, but that's been cleared. 407 ETR thanks you for continuing to follow social distancing rules. Together we can beat the COVID-19 virus. 407
Not around here, other neighborhoods.
Next traffic report at 5:11 now with the forecast. Jill Taylor.
Good morning. It's a wet, windy, but mild morning for us. We'll climb to a guaranteed high 18 degrees today. The wind
somewhere
out of the
between
east
12
right
and
now
18.
will pick up out of the west. And the rain will taper to
Somewhere between
showers
50 and 100
around 1
kilometers an
o'clock
hour.
this afternoon, and then mainly cloudy, a low near 0. For
Figure if I
today, the
carry enough
guaranteed high
cans, I won't
18.
blow away.
And right now, some light rain and 10 degrees. 680 News Time, 5:02.
Well, today marks week 5 of pandemic measures, and while there is some hope, the curve is beginning to flatten with new cases reaching a plateau in several provinces over the past few days. It's still a full court press from public health officials. In Ottawa today, federal cabinet ministers set to lay out a plan to better protect long-term care home residents.
Dozens of long-term care homes across the country are experiencing COVID-19 outbreaks, including Pinecrest Nursing Home in Bobcaygeon, which has led to the deaths of 29 residents. Today's update also expected to address the issue of temporary foreign workers. The leader of the Bloc Québécois has been among those raising concerns about the workers coming to Canada to work on farms as planting season ramps up. The federal government says all migrant workers will be screened before traveling to Canada and will self-isolate for 14 days after they get here. But the leader says he believes those rules don't go far enough.
They got an exemption the other day.
Reportedly approved a new rapid test for COVID-19. According to the Globe and Mail, the test can produce results in under an hour, which would alleviate massive pressure on public health laboratories. Ottawa-based Spartan Bioscience received approval over the weekend and will be ready to start shipping these tests for the federal and provincial governments as early as today. Spartan's test processed through a handheld DNA analyzer, which allows hospitals and other institutions to test patients and receive results without having to send them away to a provincial lab.
680 News Time, 5:04. The province is introducing a new online resource to help fight the spread of COVID-19. And as we hear from 680's Michelle Mackey, it comes amid a dramatic increase in daily testing.
Ontario's Ministry of Health has conducted more than 6,800 tests over the past 24 hours, nearly double the amount completed the day before. This follows the province's call to double the number of tests processed each day to 8,000 by April 15th and 14,000 by the end of the month. Health policy and Dr. Ahmed Faraz Khalid says April is a critical month to ramp up testing.
The month of April is when we were going to see our biggest peak. So those measures of increasing testing.
I know that. I know it won't be June or July.
Proactively testing several priority groups. It's really going to be very essential for us to get ahead of this pandemic.
The province is also developing a new platform to help defeat COVID-19. The Pandemic Threat Response, Panther for short, will hold secure health data, allowing researchers to better support health system planning and responsiveness. I'm Michelle Mackey.
Well, nationally, 717 people have now died from COVID-19, and there are now over 24,000 cases in Canada. Quebec is the hardest hit still, with 12,800 confirmed cases and 328 deaths. In Ontario now, over 7,000 cases and 274 deaths. Alberta and BC have seen their numbers slow over the past week. Both of them have over 1,500 cases and 58 deaths in British Columbia.
As the number of COVID-19 cases continue to rise, so does the need for single-use protective equipment. But Ontario having trouble securing enough PPE for healthcare workers, and some now calling the government out, saying they're failing to protect those who are trying to protect the public. Tina Yazdani of City News with more.
We spoke with a number of nurses who wanted to remain anonymous in order to protect their jobs. They tell us they are forced to sometimes beg for supplies.
That's where the anxiety is. It's the lack of PPE, and it just feels like you're being thrown to the wolves.
They tell us the government is maintaining an average 5-day supply of personal protective equipment at hospitals across the province and replenishing at that level for now until supply chains improve. So far, at least 777 healthcare workers have tested positive for COVID-19 in Ontario. That's roughly 12% of all cases in the province. Healthcare workers comprise only 3% of the population, meaning the infection rate is 4 times higher than normal. For City News, I'm Tina Yazdani.
This is First at 5. It's 5:06. Another Brampton bus driver has tested positive for COVID-19. This is Brampton Transit's 4th confirmed case. The last day the person worked was April 7th on Route 23 Sandalwood. Meantime, some changes to Brampton Transit go in place today in light of a drop in ridership. Monday to Saturday, we'll see buses operating on an enhanced Sunday service, which means regular Sunday service with additional trips during the morning and afternoon peak periods on busier routes. On Sundays, buses will continue to operate on a Sunday schedule, which includes some canceled routes. The full list can be found at bramptontransit.com.
A major international deal between oil-producing countries is providing hope to an energy industry hit hard by the pandemic and a month-long price war.
OPEC, Russia, and other oil-producing countries have finalized an unprecedented cut to production of nearly 10 million barrels, or roughly 1/10 of the global supply, in hopes of propping up prices, which have plummeted as coronavirus has softened demand. And then, making matters worse, Russia and Saudi Arabia quickly locked horns in a price war. The deal was reached just hours before Asian markets opened for the week. Mark Remillard, ABC News, New York.
Everybody down here on the bottom is happy.
5:08. It's Easter Monday, while most of the city remains closed due to the pandemic. Most essential services will be back up and running today. Grocery stores and beer stores will reopen, but the LCBO remains closed as part of the coronavirus hours. Banks are also scheduled to open. The Prime Minister is taking a day off, the second one in a row. He was off Sunday as well from his daily updates.
This is 680 News. The SIU has invoked its mandate after an armed robbery in the Bathurst and Front Street area. Police were called to the scene just after 6 last night, and when officers arrived, they found a man armed with a knife. That man was arrested at the scene. He and an officer did have to be taken to hospital, though, with unspecified injuries. The SIU is an arm's-length agency that investigates reports involving police where there's been death, serious injury, or allegations of sexual assaults.
An Easter weekend brought deadly tornadoes to at least 4 southern U.S. states.
Trailers were flipped and roofs were torn off, but no one was seriously hurt here in Texas. But as the storms moved east into Monroe, Louisiana, where Charlie Collins lives,
I heard this really loud bang, and I was like, okay, well, the window's gone, but I didn't expect this type of destruction when I came outside.
And when the twisters touched down in Mississippi, they turned deadly. 6 people were killed in 3 different counties. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
In 30 seconds, we'll check on the price of gas.
680 News Time, 5:09.
Reassurance in anxious times. We're in this together. 680 News. Introducing Irwin's new Command Lock Tape measures, built for extra control with a finger brick, up to 14-foot reach, and a high-contrast DuPont Mylar film-coated white blade. Plus, it comes in a high-impact resistant case. When every quarter-inch matters, these tapes are designed with your job in mind. New Irwin Command Lock Tapes, built for the trades. Available only at Canadian
My measuring tape's marked down to the 32nd of an inch.
More at irwintools.ca.
All things to run
Now
to
the
my head.
680 News gas price update. Enpro says the price of gas did not change at midnight, holding at 77.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News Time, 5:10.
Are you a condo landlord and your tenant has informed you they cannot make April rent? or asked to negotiate a reduced rent? With the COVID-19 crisis, you can no longer evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. Register for our upcoming webinar at remaxwealth.com featuring Elaine Page, past Ontario Law Society Paralegal of the Year, to learn how to protect yourself as a landlord. Again, that is remaxwealth.com to register.
Stop the spread. COVID-19 can be deadly. Acting now will save lives. We all need to work together to stop the spread.
I want some of that cashew spread. Damn it.
Staying home protects our most vulnerable. Staying home will help keep our family, friends, and neighbors safe. Do your part. Stay home. For information,
We'll make the bear store start delivery again.
coronavirus. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
680 News Time 5:11, traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Helena Volka.
This report brought to you by WeCleanCovid19.ca. Westbound on the 401, we're just getting word of an accident that's occurred at Harmony Road. So just taking a quick look
you
at
give us
the
a natural
westbound
disaster,
401 when it comes
we'll
into
make it
focus
into a
on
hustle.
the Harmony Road area, which is not actually
Virus
happening right
killing
now.
everybody.
So we're going to have to restart this whole map
clean that
situation.
up.
Not having the best day so far. As far as this accident, westbound 401 Harmony Road, apparently it's in the right lane. So just be careful driving through there. That's the only collision that we've had reported to us right now. Everywhere else, we're seeing a lot of water on the road, so you're going to definitely need to watch your speed today because things are definitely going to be a little bit tricky driving through the ponding and pooling as the water is accumulating from the rain that we're experiencing right now. Business owners, home builders, and homeowners alike, stop the spread. Ensure that your home or business is COVID-19 virus and pathogen free, guaranteed with WeCleanCovid19.ca. Book today at WeCleanCovid19.ca. Next traffic report at 5:21 now with the forecast. Jill Taylor.
It's a mild, wet, and windy start to our day. This rain should end, we'll taper to showers first, then end around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Mainly cloudy. The wind, though, will shift. It's out of the east right now. It will pick up out of the west, and gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour this afternoon. The guaranteed high, 18. For tonight, partly cloudy, windy, and 0, and tomorrow, mainly cloudy, windy, and cooler, 7. For today, the guaranteed high, 18.
Not quite that warm yet here in the downtown area where it's about 10 degrees and still light rain falling. While negative trend on the outlook to Wall Street this morning with European markets closed for the holiday, and a historic OPEC deal reached over the weekend to cut oil production is seeing limited reaction so far.
Run the heat
like
and the air
reports from
conditioner
the
at the same
680
fucking
Business
time.
Center.
OPEC and other global players in the energy market, including Russia, announced that they will cut production by about 9.3 million barrels per day. It is by far the largest ever single production rollback, about 10% of global daily output. The problem is the demand destruction from the coronavirus pandemic has led to greatly reduced demand or need for oil. And even with this production rollback, it may still not balance the market. So the price for oil this morning doing very little, holding just above $22 a barrel U.S. Dow futures, meantime, pointing to a give back of 340 points in the opening trade. We're coming off one of the best weeks in decades for Wall Street and Bay Street, but indications to give a little bit of that back in the early going this morning. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
680 News Time 5:14.
Every time you spend some cash, you get some cash back with the CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite Card. Every time, with no limit on how much.
It's a harpsichord.
has avoided the COVID-19 surge that paralyzed hospitals in Italy and New York. And it's ready to start shipping everything. Health Canada proves a new rapid test for coronavirus from an Ottawa-based company set to produce results in under an hour. And we seem to be getting the message. City of Toronto's COVID-19 enforcement team reporting reduced sightings over the Easter long weekend of gatherings in parks and an increase in physical distancing.
That's what possessed people out to call in the reports, dummy.
The Iranian Airlines disaster, the investigation.
How the fuck do they not see what's right in front of their face? All the jackasses were out all fucking weekend. How now you didn't see them?
Hey, good morning. The NBA has been open as suggestions when it comes to how they resume play. Of course, when is a bigger question, but here's one. ESPN reporting early this morning that one of the proposals being considered, a 25-day program for players, 11 days working out on their own, followed by a 2-week team training camp if given clearance to medical officials. A general concern right now, most players can't properly train while following quarantine directives. Over the weekend, the big story when it comes to the latest cancellations, the Rogers Cup in Montreal. The women were supposed to be there, but with the province of Quebec banning all big events through the end of August, it was not to be. Tom Tevitt writes to Tennis Canada. He says, given the scale of festival cancellations in the city of Montreal this summer, it was only fair.
If they're going to cancel all those festivals, I guess they kind of felt, well, you know, if they're going to do that, we can't very well stand alone and have our more or less festival of tennis at the same time.
By the way, no decision yet on the men in Toronto, but organizers did announce already that the women will be in Montreal next year instead. Sports 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time, 5:17. It's one big prize after another in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery. Don't miss the incredible $6.8 million grand prize, our world-famous early bird prize, and the $1.1 million Prince Edward County grand prize. A gorgeous country home located near sandy beaches, picturesque vineyards, and beautiful trails. It comes fully decorated and with $25,000 cash. The county is calling. Buy now at PrincessMargaretLottery.com.
Oh, it's late. I should go. I have class tomorrow. I know I've been drinking, but I don't want to take the bus alone. I think I'm okay to drive, and my car's outside. Maybe I'll just...
Safety concerns discourage women from taking public transportation after drinking instead of driving. Hey, Jesse, we've both been drinking. Let's share a cab. You could crash at my place. Drunk driving is a woman's issue, too. Learn how to reduce the risk at changetheconversation.ca.
680 News Time, 5:18. The COVID-19 pandemic is causing problems for the investigation into Iran's downing of a commercial jetliner in January that killed dozens of people with ties to Canada.
For months, Canada and other countries have been waiting for Iran to hand over the flight recorders from Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 so their data can be downloaded and analyzed. But while the Transportation Safety Board says Iranian authorities reached out last week to see when interested countries would be available to have representatives on hand for the process, travel bans imposed due to COVID-19 have made it impossible to attend now. As a result, the TSB says Canada and other countries who lost citizens when the plane was shot down have asked that the downloading and analyzing of the data be postponed until travel restrictions have been lifted.
That is gone.
Laurie Harris, The Canadian Press.
In light of COVID-19, many students have lost their jobs and are struggling to make rent. Erica Natividad of City News has more on the uphill battle now facing some students.
Kanika Lawton is a freelance editor and recent graduate of the University of Toronto. She pays $1,700 a month in rent at Campus 1 in downtown Toronto. They are not terminating leases or offering reimbursements for meal plans, despite the fact that many of the rooms in this building sit empty.
Most of my friends are still students, and they're unable to get some form of government relief. And if we do end up going back home, we're basically paying $1,700, $200, $2,000 for an empty room.
Canadian Campus Communities has stated that it is not offering lease terminations because it is contractually obligated to provide housing for residents. But for the month of April, the management has offered a rent reduction of $150.
It seems like a slap in the face.
In a statement to City News, a spokesperson for the residents said in part, while we anticipate that lease obligations will be met, we appreciate the challenges of the current situation and are willing to discuss individual options for residents facing COVID-19 related difficulties. Erica Natividad, City News.
Well, South Korea's vice health minister is pleading with Koreans to remain alert despite a slowing spread of COVID-19 in that country. The official says a quick return to pre-pandemic normalcy is virtually impossible considering the constant threat of new transmission. South Korea's government is looking at new guidelines that would allow people to engage in some economic and social activity, but the new rules to be announced later this week will not necessarily mean the end of social distancing. South Korea is being watched closely by many other nations because of its early success in flattening the curve. In 60 seconds, a look at the roads and the extended forecast. 680 News Time, 520.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tab, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. We're taking every possible precaution to keep you safe. That's why the Herzig Eye Institute is pausing elective surgery for the time being. However, we remain available online and by phone to keep you fully informed about our refractive cataract and laser vision correction services, and to schedule and reschedule your Herzig appointments. Google high definition vision and sign up for my blog so we can stay connected. Look after yourself. Promise me.
Hi, Tom Rokiki here of Inline Fiberglass Windows and Doors. I am proud to be living and working here in the Greater Toronto area. All of us are so lucky and blessed to be part of this strong community, province, and country. At this time, I feel it is important to remind all our friends, family, and employees to keep an eye on one another, especially the most vulnerable. Let's also come together in support of the heroes on the front lines. Together, we will get through this. Thank you. City News Time, 521. Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Selena Volka.
Well, I just got off the phone with a traffic spotter traveling westbound on the 401. Just past Harmony Road is where that accident is. It was blocking the two right lanes, but the tow trucks were there and they were hooking up the vehicles. So it should be cleared out of there shortly, if not already. A bit of a delay from Harmony Road to west of it. But again, according to the traffic spotter that checked in, it looks like it was in the process of being cleared. You're going to definitely need to watch your speed today. There won't be as many cars on the road as we've been experiencing lately in the rush hours, a very light volume usually, but as far as the weather and driving conditions, not the greatest. With the rain and the ponding and the pooling, you could lose control if you drive through a puddle too quickly. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse would like to wish their guests the very best at this difficult time. Also remind you that takeout and delivery service are now available online. Place your order at ruthschris.ca. Next traffic report at 5:31 now with the forecast. Jill Taylor.
Well, the rain we've got now will taper to showers and then end around 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Rain will taper to showers.
But very windy, especially through the afternoon. We've got an east wind right now. We'll pick up out of the west, and gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour. Guaranteed high 18. For tonight's partly cloudy, windy, and 0. For the rest of the week, rather cloudy, some sunshine. A highs about 7 degrees. For today, the guaranteed high 18.
And right now, downtown Toronto still seeing some light rain, and we're at 10 degrees. Remember, 680 News is the only GTA radio station with a weather guarantee, and today's jackpot stands at $21,300. Coming up at 5:30, the latest on COVID-19 from the 680 Morning Show, including a new test reportedly close to being rolled out across the country that could allow health officials to turn around results in about an hour. 680 News Time, 523.
Stop the spread. COVID-19 can be deadly. Acting now will save lives. We all need to work together to stop the spread of COVID-19. Staying home protects our most vulnerable. Staying home will help keep our family, friends.
I want the real weather.
Welcome to Environment Canada's Weather Service. Bienvenue au service météorologique d'Environnement Canada. For the City of Toronto, for the forecast for the next 7 days, press 1. The Environment Canada forecast issued at 5 a.m. Monday, April 13th for today and Tuesday. City of Toronto for today, periods of rain ending near noon, then a mix of sun and cloud with 40% chance of showers. Risk of a thunderstorm this morning. Wind south 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40, becoming west 40, gusting to 70 late this afternoon. High 17 for tonight, mainly cloudy, 30% chance of flurries overnight. Wind west 40 kilometers per hour, gusting to 70, diminishing to 20, gusting to 40 late this evening. Low 0 for Tuesday, mainly sunny, increasing cloudiness in the afternoon, then 30% chance of rain, showers, or...
He just said rain turning to showers. They both said it. It's the rain will turn to showers.
Waiting time to be able to complete a purchase. In 60 seconds, we'll take a look at where the Monday markets are trending. 680 News Time, 525.
In these times, keeping your lungs healthy is more important than ever before. And the Lung Health Foundation is here to help. Maybe you want to get your asthma under control, but your inhaler technique needs work. Or you have COPD, and you need tips that can help you manage breathlessness. Perhaps today you're finally ready to quit smoking or vaping. Certified respiratory educators are standing by for free confidential phone or chat sessions. Visit lunghealth.ca to get started today. Breathe easy. Lung Health starts now.
To the nurses and doctors who doubled their shifts. To those wiping down every surface and keeping us safe. Those who keep the lights on and the food coming. To all frontline and emergency workers, Subaru dealers salute you. In fact, while we continue to provide essential services to all Subaru customers, we'll drop everything to put you first. Simply visit us online, because that's how we'll safely plan every appointment. From your Ontario Subaru dealers, let's all stay safe.
680 News Time, 526. Now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Mike Heppel.
Good morning. The oil market has its production agreement to cut daily output. The big question is, will it be enough? Over the weekend, and actually going back to last week, OPEC plus Russia plus about 60 nations globally over the weekend agreed to a cutback of 9.3 million barrels per day. Now, that's by far the largest in history. The G20 energy ministers getting on side with OPEC. The big question is, will everybody actually stick to the new quotas, and will it be enough to offset the demand destruction that has happened under the COVID-19 pandemic, with the global economy slowing dramatically? There's no need for as much oil right now, and even with a cutback of nearly 10% of daily output, will it be enough
to balance
things? The price for oil initially was up by 9%, then it was down by about 1%. Right now it's hovering at around $22 per barrel US. The Western Canadian Select price last Thursday was down by 34% going into the long holiday weekend. And it actually is a holiday still in the Eurozone.
Why are we paying 22 and selling it for 4? What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Or the UK financial markets. The outlook for Wall Street right now is tentative and generally down, with the Dow futures giving back just over 300 points and the S&P futures index down a little bit more than 1%. The TSX last week gained about 8%. The Dow and the S&P had their best week since the early 1970s, up more than 10% each. We're looking at the Canadian dollar this morning at 71.76 cents US. That is up just slightly from where it was on Thursday of last week. The price for gold is down by $10 at $1,743 in U.S. funds. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
You've suffered from anxiety and depression during this pandemic, and now your claim for disability is denied. My name is Aaron Waxman, and during this pandemic, we are open and working for our clients from our homes. If your disability claim is denied for any reason, call me at 416-661-4878 or pound LTD on your cell phone. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or pound LTD.
Weather. It's all about the numbers. And if we're off by more than 3 degrees,
you can win our cash jackpot.
A number that continues to grow.
Enter at 680news.com. As an essential service, Roto-Rooter wants you to know that they remain ready to help you with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs. Thank you for understanding as they take preventative measures to ensure everyone's health is a top priority. Contact them at rotorooter.com.
You'll hear it here
First, breaking news when it happens.
On 680 News.
Jill Taylor's forecast: a wet, windy, mild start to the week today. Rain will taper to showers and should end by about 1 o'clock, and then mainly cloudy throughout the day, but the wind will pick up after that. Gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour. The guaranteed high all the way up to 18 degrees today. The rest of the week, though, looking much drier and cooler, with
High temperatures in the single digits. 680 News is CFTR, AM Toronto, 680 News time, 5:30.
Number one for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Paul Cook and Catherine Jeté.
Good morning. It's Monday, April 13th.
Here's what's making news right now.
Here we are, week 5 under massive pandemic restrictions, but experts say it's working, with signs that parts of this country may be starting to.
The numbers have nothing but gone up. What do you mean
Canada
it's
gives an
working?
Ottawa company approval for a rapid portable test for COVID-19, and Alberta is sharing badly
Pat
needed
people on
medical
the back.
protective equipment with
Fuck everything
Ontario.
More people seem to be getting the message about physical distancing. Fewer warnings and fines were handed out at city parks this weekend.
Yeah, so the cops are off for
looking
fucking
into
Easter.
a possible 25-day program for players to get them back into shape. Lots of hurdles to clear before that happens, though. Sports at 45.
An historic weekend in the energy market, with global players agreeing to the largest ever single production rollback. The question, will it actually help the energy trade? Dow Futures opening down more than 300 points. Business at 56.
680 News time, 5:31.
Time for 680 News, traffic and weather together on the ones. Here is Helena Volka. Good morning, Helena.
Good morning, Catherine and Paul. This report brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Well, generally speaking, it's a wet drive, so watch your speed. There'll be ponding and pooling, and that could affect your drive and your control of your vehicle if you drive through the accumulated water a little too quickly. So just keep that in mind this morning. Now, westbound 401 west of Harmony Road, the collision there is gone. The minor delay that we had through there is gone as well. Traffic spotter checked in to say southbound 400 approaching Chester Road, there's a driving hazard. In the left lane, there's a construction pylon. You don't really see it. You come across it really suddenly. Swerving to miss it could be an issue as well with vehicles all
Don't
around.
really
So
see it's a
be really
construction
careful
pylon.
southbound
You don't
400
see
approaching
it.
Chester Road. Stay out of that left lane to be
Looks
on
like
the safe
me,
side.
black and
Jim's
orange,
aware
it's all.
and should be removing it shortly. St. Louis Bar and Grill thanks you for supporting local businesses, including your local St. Louis restaurant through takeout and
Covered in
delivery. Their
reflective
deepest
decals.
gratitude goes to the first responders keeping us all safe. Next traffic report at 5:41 with the forecast, Jill Taylor.
Windy and mild will climb to a guaranteed high 18 degrees today. Now, the rain we've got now will end early this afternoon. Right now, a gusty east wind. It will pick up and become very strong out of the west. Gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour this afternoon. We've got rain and 10 at Pearson right now, 8 at 680 News. The guaranteed high, 18.
680 News time, 5:32.
It's now been a full month since emergency measures to stop the spread of COVID-19 took effect, and there are hopeful signs they may be starting to have an impact.
But a potential spike in cases is not being ruled out. Our Jamie Pulver's here live with the latest as Ottawa prepares to roll out measures for seniors and temporary foreign workers. Good morning, Jamie.
Yeah, good morning, Paul. And the message is to keep doing what you're doing when it comes to staying home and physical distancing, because it is working. Infectious disease experts tell the Globe and Mail
Stay home and let the
early
Mexicans
signs
pick
show
the
parts of
apples.
Canada may be starting to flatten the curve as the feared surge of COVID-19 patients overwhelming hospitals has so far failed to materialize. Although they still warn it's possible to see a major spike in cases, as some spots like Ontario and Quebec still struggle to contain outbreaks. And the Prime Minister tries to offer some perspective.
In hard times, courage and strength are not defined by what we say or do loudly in public, but by the actions we take quietly, in private, like staying home.
Now, Justin Trudeau will not be speaking today. He's taking another day off from public appearances. Federal officials, though, will be speaking to the situation facing long-term care homes. Many across the country have been ravaged by this virus. They will also talk about temporary foreign workers who have been exempted from travel restrictions because of their importance to the economy. They will still face health screenings and that 14-day quarantine when they get
crossing
here.
the border
We're
legally,
reporting
bunch of
live. Jamie
Mexicans.
Pulver, 680 News.
680 News time, 5:34. Help is on the way in the fight against COVID-19 in the form of a new test that can yield results in less than an hour, and badly needed protective gear for healthcare workers from a province that planned ahead. 680's Kevin Meisner joins us live with the story. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Catherine. Yeah, this new testing device was developed by Spartan Bioscience in Ottawa. Health Canada has granted approval for a handheld DNA analyzer.
It allows hospitals and other institutions to independently test patients and receive the results for COVID-19 without having to send the samples away to a provincial or national lab. Each of these devices also can process 10 to 15 tests a day. So this would really speed up the process. The company plans to start shipping out the tests as early as this week. A worldwide shortage of medical swabs has slowed down the traditional testing, and that's especially being felt here in Ontario. But this Spartan device also solves that problem by including its own swabs with each of the testing units. Until recently, Ontario has had the lowest testing rate in the country for COVID-19. Now, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney also announcing that his province will be sharing an oversupply of medical personal protective equipment with other provinces, including here in Ontario.
To Ontarians, we are providing 250,000 N95 masks, 2.5 million procedural masks, 15 million gloves, 87,000 goggles, and 50 ventilators.
Alberta began stockpiling those materials back in December, anticipating the potential need long before the first COVID-19 case ever appeared in Canada. Reporting live, Kevin Leisner, 680 News.
680 News Time, 5:36. Well, the cooler weather might have helped, but whatever the reason, Torontonians appeared to follow the advice to stay home over the Easter long weekend. Our Carl Hansky joins us live with the latest from police. Good morning, Carl.
Yeah, good morning, Paul. Police and bylaw officers are seeing more compliance in city parks. Fewer people gathering in groups, more people practicing physical distancing. The number of complaints were down this weekend, as were the number of warnings and tickets issued. Still, there were still some wrongdoers. On Saturday alone, 286 warnings were issued across the city, 48 tickets handed out, each for $1,000. By the way, failing to properly identify yourself and give proper ID will also net you an additional $750 fine.
Yeah,
I'm en route to High Park this morning, one of the problem areas of the city. Carl Hansky,
you could argue the legality, but it's there.
5:37. The province is developing a new health data platform to help defeat COVID-19. The Pandemic Threat Response, or Panther for short, will hold secure health data that will allow researchers to predict when and where outbreaks can happen, discover risk factors for vulnerable populations, and identify where to allocate equipment and other resources. Ontario will appoint a Panther special advisor and create a roundtable to provide recommendations about the data.
So we always do.
This is 680 News.
Board,
A refugee shelter downtown is reporting 4 cases of COVID-19. The cases are at Willowdale Welcome Center, which currently houses more than 200 people. The CEO of Homes First Society, which operates this and other shelters in the city, says she was first notified about the cases on Thursday and is waiting to hear back on multiple other tests. Patricia Muir says they've put up plexiglass shields at counters and have moved residents around to different shelters to space out occupants, but adds it can be difficult to get people to take physical distancing rules seriously. She also anticipates they will run out of personal protective equipment in 2 or 3 weeks.
680 News Time, 5:38. The COVID-19 pandemic is impacting the investigation into Iran's downing of a commercial jetliner in January that killed 55 Canadians.
For months, Canada and other countries have been waiting for Iran to hand over the flight recorders from Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 so their data can be downloaded and analyzed. But while the Transportation Safety Board says Iranian authorities reached out last week to see when interested countries would be available to have representatives on hand for the process, travel bans imposed due to COVID-19 have made it impossible to attend now. As a result, the TSB says Canada and other countries who lost citizens when the plane was shot down have asked that the downloading and analyzing of the data be postponed until travel restrictions have been lifted.
Some of those masks
Laurie Harris, the Canadian Press.
680 News Time, 5:38. The Special Investigations Unit has invoked its mandate after an armed robbery in the Bathurst and Front Street area. Police were called to the scene just after 6 last evening, and when officers arrived, they found a man armed with a knife. That man was arrested at the scene. He and an officer had to be taken to hospital with unspecified injuries. The SIU is an arm's-length agency that investigates reports involving police where there's been death, serious injury, or allegations of sexual assault.
Coming up at 5:41, we'll have traffic and weather together.
680 News Time, 5:39.
As a homeowner,
So you never hear about them charging a police officer with anything?
With Capital Direct, equity equals flexibility for homeowners.
What? 7 years
Flexibility
ago.
to finance your business. Flexibility to renovate your home. Or flexibility to pay off other bills like credit cards or property taxes. If you've got something you would like to take care of,
Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL and see what's available for you. CapitalDirect.ca.
City streets northbound Kipling at Rathburn is down to a single lane due to a broken water main. Eastbound Finch from Sentinel to Keel, the right lane remains blocked for construction.
Water mains all over.
540.
David Jones here from Hire the Gardener. COVID-19 has brought a lot of change. I hope you're
Winds
coping
are 100
well.
kilometers an
Many
hour.
have
It's one
asked
thing
me if
after
we're still
another.
open. Absolutely. The grass will still grow, weeds
these
will
little
still need picking, and the
fucking
gardener is
import
still
cars
100%
spinning around
committed
over
to
here.
maintaining and beautifying the
I ain't helping
24/7 view from your window. You don't have to come near us, but you can definitely wave to us. Talk to us at hirethegardener.com. Take care of your home, and let's all take care of each other.
Sweet dreams. Sleep tight. Rest well. Night-night. See you in the morning. Tomorrow's a new
Sleep
day.
is the cousin of death.
No matter how you say it, checking in on someone to say goodnight can go a long way right now. So before you turn in tonight, call a friend or a loved one and let them know you're thinking of them. Sleep well and stay well. Sleep Country.
680 News Time 541.
Time for 680 News traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Helena Volka.
This report is brought to you by CIBC. Westbound on the 401 west of White's in the collector to express transfers. It looks like a vehicle lost control, hit the guardrail. It's in the right-hand lane. Originally, it didn't have any lights on the vehicle itself, but I see lights now, so possibly something has it's got its lights going again, or there's another vehicle there sheltering it. But regardless, be really careful westbound on the 401 west of White's Road in the collector to express transfers, and stay in that right lane to be on the safe side. Southbound 400 approaching Teston Road, we had a construction pylon in the left lane, so that was definitely a driving hazard through there. Be careful through there. MTO should be heading out there shortly to pick it up. Now, in terms of the driving conditions,
Don't remove it. Just stand it upright.
Is accumulating on the roads. There's ponding and pooling, so
reason.
please do yourself a huge favor today and watch your speed. Need mortgage advice? Connect with a CIBC mortgage advisor and get it done remotely together. Learn how at CIBC.com/mortgages. Next traffic report at 5:51 with the forecast. Here's Jill Taylor.
Well, it sure is a wet start to our day, and the wind very strong out of the east right now. For the afternoon, we'll lose the rain, so we'll just have mainly cloudy conditions, but the wind will pick up out of the west, and gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour. We'll climb to a guaranteed high 18 degrees, but that warmth will be short-lived. We'll drop to 0 for the low and just 7 for the high tomorrow. Mainly cloudy, still windy though. Right now, those gusts up to about 30 to 45 kilometers per hour right now. We've got the light rain, 10 at Houston, 8 at 680 News. The guaranteed high, 18.
680 News Time 543.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute.
Over to Mike Apple at the 680 Business Center. Morning, Mike.
Hey, morning, Paul. Good morning, Catherine. Markets are down, at least the ones that are open in the early trade this morning. We've got all of the Eurozone, the UK, and some of the Asia-Pacific markets closed for Easter Monday. The Dow futures currently pointing to a drop of about 300 points at the start of today's trade. We are coming off what was a week, again, for the record books, where the Wall Street benchmarks were all up by more than 10% last week, one of the best we've seen actually over just a 4-day time frame since the early 1970s. The TSX advanced by close to 8%. So we're looking at the price for oil this morning after that historic production rollback announced late Sunday by OPEC and other nations. Close to 10 million barrels, while oil is doing pretty much nothing in response. It is still below $23 per barrel. The Canadian dollar, 71.62.
Man, for guys buying it.
Business Center. I'm Mike Apple.
Still to come on 680
Not gonna be
News.
more money.
LCBO
Why should they?
closed, beer store open. We'll have the full rundown on this Easter Monday.
680 News Time 544.
At BDO Debt Solutions, they know that life is full of unexpected events that can weaken your financial well-being. Many people who come to BDO for help had to go through tough times and take on debt in order to survive. If you're experiencing difficulty, a BDO licensed insolvency trustee can provide a free initial consultation and offer you services over the phone to explain all your debt relief options and help you find a solution that works for you and your family. Call 1-855-BDO-DEBT to book a free over-the-phone consultation.
Are you a condo landlord and your tenant has informed you they cannot make April rent or asked to negotiate a reduced rent?
With the COVID-19 crisis, you can no longer evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. Register for our upcoming webinar at remaxwealth.com featuring Elaine Page, past Ontario Law Society Paralegal of the Year, to learn how to protect yourself as a landlord. Again, that is remaxwealth.com to register.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Some light rain, 8 degrees right now in downtown Toronto. Good morning. From the 680 News Broadcast Center, I'm Catherine Jeté.
I'm Paul Cook. Here are the top stories this Monday morning.
We are now in week 5 under emergency measures to stop the spread of COVID-19, with more than 7,000 cases now confirmed in this province. The federal government is expected to provide an update today on measures for seniors, home care, and temporary foreign workers amid the pandemic.
The city's reviewing their emergency
has approved a new rapid test for COVID-19 that can produce results in under an hour. And the city is reporting reduced sightings of gatherings in public places and an increase in physical distancing.
680 News Time 5:45. Time now for 680 Sports.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here is Simon Bennett.
Hey, good morning. And the NBA looking for ways to get the players into shape. Eventually, ESPN reports that a 25-day program for players is being considered. 11 days working out on their own with some distancing measures, followed by a 2-week team training camp if given clearance from medical officials. The general concern right now, most players can't train properly because they're following quarantine directives. COVID-19 cancellations stretching into late summer now. In case you missed it over the weekend, the Rogers Cup in Montreal canceled with the scrapping of all large events in the province of Quebec through the end of August, pretty much making the decision for them. No word yet on what this means for Toronto. Is this the first signal that soccer might be back sooner rather than later? With Spain slowly lifting some restrictions this week, players from Real Sociedad have been told that they can start training, even going as far as saying they can go to their training facilities and train individually, although group sessions still not allowed. Sports 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time 5:47.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking Kubota. Not tractors, but skid steers and excavators.
Yes, sir. Kubota's known for their quality orange tractors, but we also offer Kubota construction equipment.
Tell me more, Bill.
Kubota skid steers and excavators are equipped with Kubota's powerful, easily accessible engines that deliver reliable performance, exceptional fuel efficiency, and less noise.
Hot diggity dog! You'll dig the amazing selection of Kubota construction equipment at Coy Brothers.
KOOYBROS.com.
These are unprecedented times for everyone. AGM Renovations is now ready to help all homeowners with any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs. Plumbing problems, furnace and AC problems, electrical problems, water damages, foundation leaks, roof leaks, window leaks, and much more. You have a problem, call AGM. They can fix any kind of emergency maintenance and repairs in your home. For an express and safeguarded service visit, call AGM.
680 News Time 5:48.
The World Health Organization says there are 70 coronavirus vaccines in development globally, with 3 candidates already being tested in human trials as drug makers race to find a cure for the deadly pathogen. WHO documents suggest an experimental vaccine developed by a Hong Kong company and the Beijing Institute of Biotechnology is the furthest along in the clinical process, currently in phase 2. The other 2 being tested in humans are by U.S. drug makers. The drug industry is hoping to compress the time it takes to get a vaccine to market, usually about 10 to 15 years, to within the next year. While many health experts now agree wearing non-medical masks while out in public could help stop the spread of COVID-19, one U.S. doctor is recommending against wearing gloves.
The CDC says wearing a mask helps a wearer not showing symptoms from spreading coronavirus. But Dr. Vinny Shamim, the University of Maryland Hospital medicine physician, says people in the community don't need to wear gloves unless they're directly dealing with a COVID-19 patient. She says people are not using gloves correctly.
Many times what people are doing, they'll have gloves on, they're still touching their face. They'll have gloves on and they'll take them off and then put them back on to use their cell phones.
The doc says as soon as it goes on surfaces, the amount of virus significantly drops, lowering the risk of it spreading. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
That's what they do at the Tim Hortons when they make sandwiches. So I'm wearing gloves, I can handle money and
so does
make
the
your
need
sandwich.
for personal protective equipment for healthcare workers. And as Tina Yazdani of City News reports, some Ontario nurses are accusing the government of not doing enough. We spoke with a number of nurses who wanted to remain anonymous in order to protect their jobs. They tell us they're forced to sometimes beg for supplies.
These are you people spreading diseases. You're a bunch of racist pieces of shit.
They tell us the government is maintaining an average 5-day supply of personal protective equipment at hospitals across the province and replenishing at that level for now until supply chains improve. So far, at least 777 healthcare workers have tested positive for COVID-19 in Ontario. That's roughly 12% of all cases in the province. Healthcare workers comprise only 3% of the population, meaning the infection rate is 4 times higher than normal. For City News, I'm Tina Yazdani.
680 News Time.
400%. Oh, they don't say 400% because it sounds big.
Hi, it's Tony Chapman, host of the podcast Chatter That Matters. Thanks to the incredible support of RBC, we're focusing on the heart of the Canadian economy, small businesses. We'll travel across Canada, meet different owners, learn about their dreams and what's happened since COVID-19 has shut down our economy. Meet Tracy Shepherd. She left an incredible career and invested her life savings in launching a mobile meditation studio called MeditationWorks.com, only to find that the wheels of her business fall off. We'll take her story to Canada's top thinkers to provide Tracy and you with powerful insights, ideas, and inspiration. Download Chatter That Matters wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks again to RBC for your support of Small Business Matters.
680 News Time, 5:51.
Time for 680 News traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Helena Volka.
This report brought to you by 407 ETR. Well, westbound on the 401 west of Whites Road, the problem has escalated. It's in the collector to express transfers. Now, we had a vehicle into the guardrail, a single vehicle, and now we've got numerous emergency crews on the scene. That's westbound 401 west of Whites Road in the collector to express transfers. The right lane is blocked at the moment because of this accident that's there. And be careful driving through there and past there. Also, just in general, watch your speed because it's really quite wet on the roads, and there's been an accumulation of the water and ponding and pooling in some areas, and if you hit that too quickly, you know what happens. You could lose control of your vehicle. Southbound 400 approaching Teston Road, construction problem sitting in the left lane. That was a definite driving hazard, so be careful driving through there. M2 should be picking that up shortly. 407 ETR thanks you for continuing to follow social distancing rules. Together we can beat the COVID-19 virus. 407ETR.com. Next traffic report at 6:01. Now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
It's a wet, windy start to our day. The rain will taper to showers and end around 1 this afternoon, but the wind, oh yeah, it'll stay with us all day. It's out of the east right now, quite gusty. Expect a west wind, very strong. Gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour this afternoon, especially near the shores of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, but it will be quite mild. 18 for the guaranteed high today, 0 for the low, and then tomorrow mainly cloudy, windy, cooler. The high about 7 and quite a bit of clouds, some sunny breaks here and there for the rest of the week. Highs remaining 6-7 degrees. Right now, gusty east wind. We've got the light rain, 10 at Pearson, 8 at 680 News. The guaranteed high, 18.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, checking the coronavirus curve after a full month of physical distancing and why getting tested is about to get easier and faster.
680 News Time, 5:53.
Hi, I'm Sherry Tabb, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. In support of public health efforts, we have put a pause on elective surgery at our Toronto and Ottawa locations. I and my Herzig Eye Institute staff remain available to you online and by phone to schedule future appointments and to help you stay up to date and safe. Your health is what matters most to us. Google high definition vision and sign up for my blog so we can stay connected. Look after yourself. Promise me.
Darren and Mo's Pay Your Bills contest
on 98.1
CHFI.
Bills come up and it's just hard to keep up.
We want to look after that.
So as long as you keep getting bills, they'll keep paying them.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Guess what?
What?
Zero balance.
Oh, I feel so good.
Enter to have Darren and Mo pay your bills by uploading a photo of your bill to CHFI.com.
Then listen for us to call your name weekdays at 8 and 4 for your chance to win Darren and Mo's Pay Your Bills contest
on 98.1 CHFI. Today is Easter Monday, and even though you might be back at work, a lot of places will be closed. Our Jeff Verhoeven is here with the rundown.
I mean, the short answer is nothing. Not because it's Easter Monday, but because,
Coronavirus! Coronavirus!
Yeah, but closed today. Government offices, Canada Post, grocery stores and banks will be open, so start lining up now. If Saturday was any indication, you might want to bring a snack.
You're all going at the same fucking time as when there's a lineup.
LCBOs are going to be closed on all Mondays.
No lineup all day.
If you
4
really
o'clock,
need booze,
100
Uber
people
Eats
show up.
announced they're starting a booze delivery service through some restaurants. Beer stores will be open, and if you're thinking food, best to call ahead. All of this information can be found at 680news.com.
What? They're not doing reservations, buddy.
Jeff Verhoeven.
Coming up in 60 seconds, the
Call
energy
ahead
market
for
has
food.
its production
Why?
deal. We'll
Messing
have the
down?
business report.
They either have food or they don't. Guess what? You walk next door. You're not sitting down. Don't take your coat off.
Indoors. I am proud to be living and working here in the Greater Toronto area. All of us are so lucky and blessed to be part of this strong community.
Shit, it's the fan, and everybody's
and country.
stupidity comes
At
out.
this time, I feel it is important to remind all our friends, family, and employees to keep an eye on one another, especially the most vulnerable. Let's also come together in support of the heroes on the front lines. Together, we will get through this.
People not
Thank
getting
you.
away
The
with nothing.
COVID-19
Trust me.
pandemic has shut down all non-essential businesses, schools, and most daycares. But many Unifor Local 414 members are still out there on the front lines. As a community, we will get through this together. During this very difficult time, let's help members and each other. Prevent the spread through self-awareness, physical distancing, education, clean hands, clear heads, and open hearts. And when possible, stay home. A message from Unifor Local 414, thanking all members who are out there still working at this stressful time.
680 News Time, 5:56.
Now, the 680 News business report. Here is Mike Apple.
Hey, morning, Catherine. We're watching the energy trade today to see reaction to the historic OPEC Plus agreement reached over the weekend to cut daily production of oil by nearly 10 million barrels per day. It is by far the largest rollback on record involving 60 nations. The U.S. and Canada are involved, although many of our biggest energy producers have already talked about cutting production dramatically and also capital spending.
Stop exporting.
But this was a deal that was really predicated on a couple of things. First off, it brings to an end a price war that was started by Russia and Saudi Arabia a month ago, which coincided with the demand destruction from the oil market itself, with oil falling basically because of oversupply and just no demand out there, with the pandemic closing the global economy. So with this, we may see at least some stability in the energy trade. At least that's what's being hoped for, not the bounce back to the $60 range where we were just a month ago for a barrel of U.S. crude. This morning, we have oil starting at around $23. It was up by as much as 9%, but currently is holding steady in early trading activity. And part of the reason for that is the fact that a lot of markets overseas are closed today for Easter Monday. There's no trading in Europe or the UK. Some of the Asia Pacific markets were closed as well. Tokyo did see trading today. The Nikkei was down by just over 2%. And the outlook for Wall Street right now has the Dow futures down a little bit more than 300 points in a week that's going to see the start of quarterly earnings season for the world's biggest companies. The big question is, well, first off, they won't be reporting earnings that are anything comparable, and it'll all be about the forward guidance, what they expect to see from the outlook from the pandemic, what it means to the bottom line, and this is going to be a best guess scenario. Things will start tomorrow with Johnson & Johnson and JP Morgan Chase reporting, and then middle of the week, companies like Citigroup and Bed Bath & Beyond on the docket. We have the Canadian dollar coming in at 71.64 cents US. That is steady from where it was Thursday of last week. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
While you are hopefully staying safe and healthy, many of you are probably at home. Maybe use the time to spring clean, like that old car taking up space in your garage. When you donate your car to Cars for Kids, that old car lives on by giving kids a chance to succeed. You can donate online in the comfort of your home, and the pickup can be contact-free. You'll receive a tax credit. See for yourself how simple it is. Go to carsforkids.ca or call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS now to donate. Remember, that's CARS with a K.
In times like these, shouldn't your money work even harder for you?
We think so. That's why at Duca Credit Union, you get no-fee checking accounts. You also get high interest on deposits and investments and low mortgage rates. Plus, you get to share in the profits. That's the Duca difference. And now we're offering 2.5% interest on your savings until March 31st, 2021. Find out how at earnmore.duca.com. Do more, be more, achieve more with Duca Credit Union. Conditions apply.
In Cambridge right now, it's cloudy and 8 degrees. Downtown Toronto, it's light rain and 8 degrees. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 6 o'clock.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Paul Cook and Catherine Chate.
Good morning. This is Monday, the 13th of April.
Here's what's making news right now.
Staying home and physical distancing over the past month is having an impact, with experts pointing to early signs that we're starting to flatten the COVID-19 curve in parts of this country.
A rapid testing device for COVID-19 developed by an Ottawa company gets Health Canada approval, and Ontario is getting badly needed medical protective equipment courtesy of Alberta.
Fewer tickets and warnings were handed out in city parks this weekend. It seems more people are obeying physical distancing rules.
Could a 25-day training program be in the future of NBA players looking to get back into shape? We know no Rogers Cup in Montreal this year now, but what about Toronto? Sports at 50.
An historic oil production rollback by OPEC and other nations has the price for oil doing, well, much of nothing this morning. The Dow futures contract down over 300 points. Business at 26.
680 News time, 6:01.
Traffic and weather together are the ones brought to you by WeCleanCovid19.ca. Here's Eva Fredescatos.
Hey, good morning. Right now, we don't have a lot happening. Westbound on the 401 west of White's, the transfer lanes to the Express, they're still blocked. That's all because of a collision. Emergency crews are on the scene. And southbound 400 approaching Teston, we've got a construction pylon taking up the left lane, so look out for that. We have notified MTO. Northbound Kipling at Rathburn, it is a single lane, and that's all because of a broken water main. Essential and non-essential services, realtors, and builders ensure that your clients are confident that your space is COVID-19 virus and pathogen-free. Guaranteed with WeCleanCovid19.ca. Book today at WeCleanCovid19.ca. Next report is at 6:11. Here's a check on the forecast now with Jill Taylor.
Good morning, Eva. It's a mild, windy, wet morning. Rain will end early this afternoon, but the wind will be with us all day. Right now, it's quite strong out of the east. It will become a strong, gusty west wind. Gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour this afternoon. Light rain, 10 degrees at Pearson 8 at 680 News. Our guaranteed high, 18. 680 News time, 6:02.
Welcome to week 5 of physical distancing and some encouraging signs that our new way of life may be paying off in the battle to keep COVID-19 from overwhelming our hospitals.
680's Jamie Pulford joins us live with the latest as Ottawa prepares to announce measures today for seniors, home care, and temporary foreign workers. Jamie.
Yeah, Catherine, so far, Canada has avoided the surge of COVID-19 patients that paralyzed hospitals in hotspots like Italy and New York. In fact, infectious disease experts tell the Globe and Mail that there are now early signs that parts of the country may be starting to flatten the curve, although they're still concerned that cases could surge in places like Ontario and Quebec as the provinces continue to try and get their outbreaks under control. The Prime Minister with some perspective on fighting this invisible threat.
But there is no front line marked with barbed wire, no soldiers to be deployed across the ocean, no enemy combatants to defeat. Instead, the front line is everywhere.
And that was during the emergency session of Parliament. Today, Justin Trudeau is taking another day away from making any public appearances, relying on public health officials and his cabinet ministers to address 2 pressing matters. That includes the dire situation at several long-term care homes right across the country, and also temporary foreign workers who are exempt from travel restrictions, and that's because of their importance to the economy. They do still face the same health screenings and 14-day quarantine when they arrive, but the leader of the Bloc Québécois says that doesn't go far enough. Reporting live, Jamie Pulfer.
Yeah, but you assholes came here and decided no one else could come here after you.
Frontline healthcare workers this morning with word that Ontario created COVID-19 testing kits are on the way.
Good night.
Along with Alberta's clever surplus of personal protective equipment. 680's Kevin Meisner joins us live with the latest. Kevin.
Well, Paul, Health Canada has given approval for a new testing device developed by Spartan Bioscience in Ottawa. This small handheld DNA analyzer is called the Spartan Cube. It allows hospitals and pretty much anyone in any setting to test patients and receive results without ever having to send the samples away to a provincial lab for confirmation. And each device can process 10 to 15 tests a day. The company plans to start shipping these tests out this week. And Alberta Premier Jason Kenney is sending 250,000 N95 masks to Ontario, along with 2.5 million surgical masks.
Alberta finds itself in a position to help some of our fellow Canadians living in parts of the country who are facing much worse in spread of the infection.
Alberta Health Services anticipated the pandemic in December and filled 4 warehouses with personal protective equipment.
It was 9 last week.
The shortage of medical swabs, meantime, has slowed down traditional COVID-19 testing, but that Spartan device solves that problem as well. It includes its own swabs with each unit. Until recently, Ontario had the lowest testing rate in the country, and that slowed down not only the identification of COVID-19 cases, but also tracing contacts within the community. Kevin Meisner, 680 News.
680 News time 6:05 is going to be a wet, windy, and mild start to the week with a guaranteed high of 18 degrees. Our meteorologist Jill Taylor says high winds will continue all day, becoming very strong through the afternoon.
The strongest wind gusts could exceed 80 kilometers per hour, especially for areas near the Lake Erie and Lake Ontario shoreline. So we'll have strong wind in Toronto and the GTA, but especially strong west end of Lake Ontario and eastern end of Lake Erie.
Jill says areas in northern Ontario are dealing with 30 to 50 centimeters of snow. She says this powerful low-pressure system could cause a bomb cyclone in some areas.
That's
the term they just came out with
24 hours. Bomb cyclone. News time 6:06. An epic price war in the oil market has come to an end with a historic deal reached that has 60 nations agreeing to cut production by nearly 10 million barrels per day. But as we hear from our Mike Apple of the 680 Business Center,
already filled up all the storage depots around the world.
Stop a free fall in prices.
We got a year's worth of fuel in a month.
Producers are cutting daily output by nearly 10%, putting an end to the devastating price war that was launched in March between Saudi Arabia and
Everybody
Russia.
can afford gas. That was horrible.
Stop to the global economy has demand plummeting and prices pummeled to record lows. The deal reached late Sunday, involving 60 countries after a week-long marathon of video conferences. The last part of the deal was getting Mexico on side, brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump. Federal Natural Resources Minister Sema late Sunday calling it a good deal to bring stability to world oil markets. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney says it was OPEC that started the fire and their responsibility to put it out. The price for oil this morning holding steady, $23. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
680 News time 6:07. The tough talk from the city about physical distancing appears to be paying off. 680's Carl Hansky joins us live from High Park with the story and reaction. Carl.
Yeah, Catherine, the number of complaints, the number of warnings, number of tickets handed out in city parks was down this weekend, including here in High Park, where residents tell me they've noticed more park users practicing physical distancing.
Yeah, I think so. I think people are getting better. They're getting the message, but not everybody yet.
And that's why you still see some people still gathering in groups to say exercise at parks or even light a campfire on some waterfront beaches.
Because people is irresponsible and so selfish. We have to take care of each other, try to control this spread and reduce it as much as possible.
On Saturday alone,
See, I don't know if I can even speak English. He obviously knows what he's talking about.
$1,000 tickets, both numbers lower than the previous days. The cold weather this weekend, though, may have played a role. We'll have to wait and see. Before we live in High Park, Carl Hansky, 680
News time 6:08. There were
I think
no
the brother
crowds
called
cheered,
me
but
all
a
the
handful of
names for
NBA
not opening the
players
door
have
for
taken
a
part in
fucking
a
guy.
unique competition. Our Simon Bennett has the
Well,
story.
Stacey said around me, oh, you're a real piece of shit. You're a real piece of shit. I think he's dead.
On the scoreboard, on the big board,
Select basketball stars competing in a virtual game of horse, facing each other from their home bases. Videos provided by webcams and smartphones, most of them outside, battling weather. Chris Paul found out the hard way when WNBA player Aliyah Force decided to try shooting while sitting on the ground.
I just hope she missed it. Oh, Allie, didn't they tell you it was wet out here? It's been raining.
Zach LaVine from way downtown against Celtics legend Paul Pierce.
I'm going to stand right up against my gate. Ooh. Come on, Zeus. Oh, my God.
LaVine and LaForce among those advancing the semis and final going Thursday. I'm Simon Bennett.
680 News Time, 6:09.
David Jones here from Hire the Gardener. COVID-19 has brought a lot of change. I hope you're coping well. Many have asked me if we're still open. Absolutely. The grass will still grow, weeds will still need picking, and the gardener is still 100% committed to me.
Hey, I'm Tom Power. You might be looking for something to take your mind off of things. Well, every Sunday we're doing a TV